Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios, weekly wing it number 106 here on Rumble and YouTube. Last one of the year. Starting it off with me tonight, Mr. Frederick Guimond.
Hey, coming to you live from the other side of the ice wall in Canada, Quebec. How's it going, everybody?
The ice wall. And also joining us tonight, Mr. James Esparza.
Hail!
Who is in space?
I'm in space, wasting time with games. I'm enjoying the holiday season. It's finally slowing down a little bit, but it's going to be picking up again soon. I got plenty of stuff to work on and showcase for the upcoming year, but today I'm just gaming it, enjoying the evening, enjoying what's left of the holiday before I got to get back to the work rush.
All right. And also joining us, the one who's uncovering the mystery of history, Readout Productions. What's up, Readout?
There is no snow at Valley Forge, only mud. Lots and lots of mud.
Yikes.
All right. Must be that time of year. Over in the chat, we got first in tonight, Skunks Work. Well, actually, Readout, you were first in, but you're already on the panel. Skunks Workshop. He says, I made it. Good to see you, Skunks. How you doing? Also joining us is Animation Overload. Says, Hail, how's everybody doing?
Hail Animation.
Hail, friends.
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a good old Monday night. Yeah, New Year's on Wednesday. And James, your streaming goes a lot better than mine. I went back and looked at some of the footage from last week's episode. And the lag on the gameplay was so bad. I was actually streaming myself twice. Once from the computer to put the game on screen, and then again from the phone. And I noticed, from my phone, I had the phone signal did better than the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi, which was carrying the whole gameplay footage, was so choppy. I'm watching through that going, oh, this is painful. So I got to rethink how I do this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of things I could cause issue with that. A lot of people in the game and stuff, they usually have like two computers, one of them to kind of host and the other one to play off of. I don't know if particularly what makes that better, but that seems to be the norm.
Well, I don't have the greatest Wi-Fi signal, and Ethernet is not an option on the laptop. So if I'm going to put gameplay like that, I would probably just have to play through the whole game, record it, and then put it up. And since it's going to be recorded, that means I can play with it, like put in fun sound effects and smart ass cutaways and the stuff I like to do.
Yeah.
Bat Sauce. He says, beep, beep. My ride is here. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Bat Sauce?
Hello, Mr. Bat.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Hey.
Hey, Raven.
Cool space game.
Thank you. I found it for 99 cents on Steam in a sale.
Which one is it?
It's called Everspace. Yeah, it's like a space roguelike. So if you're into those, I've been enjoying it.
Ever since Trump got elected, prices have been going down and the economy's better already.
Oh, yeah. It was a winter sale.
Yeah, I keep hearing people say, oh, Canada's nervous about having to become a state or something. And I'm like, I think I know a Canadian or two that would be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm invited, to have Second Amendment rights, First Amendment rights. I don't know what they're holding on to. Like they say, we want to keep our sovereignty, but the states have their own sovereignty. They're just united under the federal government. But dude, like there's so much wrong with Canada at the moment. We're in an archaic system with the England's monarchy.
Yeah.
And we've got this weird relationship with the states because we're basically the same culture. We're just different laws and different legal systems. And we thought we were just as free until shit hit the fan, and then you realized how much your government can encroach on you when it wants to.
That's all governments, dude. Granted, the powers that be have an extra hurdle here in the U.S. because of the Constitution. It slows them down. But, you see it's happening pretty much worldwide. hopefully we'll be able to turn it around here. Who knows? But there's reasons I don't like to talk about politics because usually I'm talking out of my rear end when I do.
Yeah.
I don't know
But,
that we could accept Canada as one state. It'd probably be what, 5 or 6, or is it 7 that you guys have?
Oh, provinces.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot
don't know.
of
We have provinces. We have territories. Who's counting?
Like that would
Um,
probably be a better way to do it. Like make each one of those its own state or something.
Well, it depends how you see it, because the whole of Canada probably has the same economy, is comparable to California.
Oof.
Yeah.
Talk about a fixer-upper.
You said
Well, the
economy, right?
The little bit I know about Canada's population distribution, regardless what province you're talking about, there is a very thin but thick population line on the southern borders.
Yes.
And then you have large tracts of land going north.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I wish I had that clip from Monty Python. Huge tracts of land.
So in some ways, yes, it is like California, where you have like this thick population density in a particular corner, and then the rest.
Yes. Most of our
Yeah.
country is just trees, which is why we have to pay for climate tax, I guess.
Yikes.
Something makes sense somewhere. But yeah, no, we're all on the border with the U.S., which is why it makes sense to be,
I don't know, man. That's a lot of liberals.
Oh, dude.
All
Tell
those
me about it.
asteroids look like little nuggets of Swiss cheese.
That's why I was thinking of dividing Canada up into its separate territories or whatever as different states, because
You're trying to conquer
You get
and
4
divide.
blue states. You get
Divide.
4 blue states overnight.
are they all blue, or because I thought some of the ones in the west were a bit red.
Alberta.
But is it American red?
Alberta
Yeah, I
is
know.
Alberta is American red. Alberta is the Texas of Canada. It's where you got all the oil.
Yeah.
Quebec's got a lot of hydroelectricity. We got 7 or 11 dams that provide electricity already to the United States. Huge capacity for energy up in Canada.
Yeah. I'm surprised we don't do more with hydroelectric. Doesn't that seem to be aside from some maintenance, one of the, outside of nuclear, is probably one of the cleaner, more dependable forms of energy, isn't it? Or am I wrong on that?
No, totally right. Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, Raven, you came in, but I never gave you your intro. It's Raven Nevermore, everybody. And what'd
Mr.
your avatar
Nevermore.
say? I support open carry swords. Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's hard to conceal carry a sword, isn't it, Raven?
Yeah, well,
Virtually.
I don't know when the shirt itself came out, but Texas passed a law back in 2017 that basically reversed some laws that they created back in the late 1800s, I think it was, because they had various different factions fighting out in the streets. But otherwise, and because they had those factions fighting out in the streets, that's why they made like large blades illegal. But then here recently, they're like, we've not had any problem with those factions, and Texas is pretty much a do whatever you want state. So why not just allow them again? Plus, it seems to be that we have a lot of LARPs and a lot of HEMA people. And so, why antagonize them when they're trying to get their stuff from the car into the gym or wherever it is that they're going?
What is a HEMA, people?
So HEMA is, and I think even
Historical martial
Shadowversity,
arts.
but yeah, they do the padding with the dulled, somewhat realistic weapons and stuff, but in a lot of cases with the practicing, they'll do like padded swords and stuff. But I think at some of the events that they'll do like a sword, but it's like been specifically dulled or whatever, so they're not doing actual damage to each other. But so kind of like the fencing and stuff, but apparently they do a lot more than just like fencing with rapiers and such.
Oh, cool.
Speaking of which, read out. Has that ever been a problem for any reenactments, like any weapons laws in local areas giving you problems where you're trying to do a reenactment and they got issues with your equipment?
Yeah, I can't speak the big one that comes to mind, state of New York. Their laws are so they didn't specify their most recent restrictions on like carrying firearms in like public places. They they didn't emphasize what a historical firearm is. So technically speaking, you can't go and do like black powder demonstrations or reenactments or
Really?
anything like that at historic sites. They have to get back there and amend it because a lot of people, I think they're
Yeah.
gonna. I think eventually they will have to backtrack it because I don't know what bill it was, but it was about a year ago. They passed a new restriction, and you know how New York is how tight on their guns, and they basically they didn't think about, well, isn't it our historic parks are public places where we have live firings of guns? Oh, we forgot to include those.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
how
so like
fun.
yes, like every state historic site that was doing any type of black powder demonstrations or doing like battle reenactments, they want crap. Because they're like, if we go out there, if our guns will start shooting, what's to stop the state police from shutting us down?
Now, was that an unintended consequence, or was that
Ah, see, that's where you know you get
Good
into
question.
the unwritten rules.
speculation?
I would like to think that it was an accident, but
You
look at
never
the
know.
look at the political climate that the state of New York built up the past couple years. Well, the past couple decades.
Oh, we got our clarification. The hedge says all wrong.
I never
Thank
said
you
it was
for
right.
clearing that up.
Thank
Herman P.
you.
Hunter's the Lore Forge, aka the Hedge.
It's time somebody stood up.
Yeah, good on
Trying-
that hedge guy.
I'm trying to think us personally where we've had big, like my group, we've had big issues. I mean, Pennsylvania is very finicky, but it's not New York. And most of the events we were doing were on private property. So it was kind of, we didn't have any issues. I know the state laws can be a little more screwy. I'll tell you a story. Bushy Run Battlefield, which is about an hour from me, there has been a fight ever since the pandemic times over them doing a reenactment there. Has nothing really to do with the firearms, has more to do with the whole, you know,
The overall culture issues.
yeah, the culture issues and basically everybody being thin-skinned over doing historical events. The state's argument was it was inappropriate to do a battle reenactment of a British victory over indigenous tribes without indigenous representation's input. And it was
Really?
just, but the battle reenactment had gone on for like almost a half a century, and nobody really had a problem. And most of the tribal representatives were like, "Yeah, we don't have a problem. You're making your own problems up." And then there had to be a whole petition that was signed, and then some of my own local representatives actually went to the state Congress and basically argued like, "No, we do this out of historical value. We're not doing this to insult any cultural. We're keeping in contact with both sides that were involved in the battle, and the economy of the region depends on this event happening." Like
Oh,
this
yeah.
is the what
Brings in
the-
money.
and I have grievances with the Pennsylvania Historical Museums Commission, not the people that work the museums, the head honchos in Harrisburg. It is a very badly funded agency, and sites like Bushy Run Battlefield, yes, they're owned by the state, but the state gives them paltry funding, barely enough to keep the lights on and do some maintenance work. Everything has to be done through volunteer efforts. So most of the funding that they get to run the site came from this reenactment. Like over 50% of the funding budget came from this one event. And the state shut it down because of political issues. And it's like, well, you just shot yourself in the foot. Fortunately,
Oh, brother.
the local population rallied, petitioned the state government, and they got the reenactment back and running. But that took a lot of muscle power. And there's other sites where reenactments just, because of it's insensitive, it disappeared.
Wow.
That's right. Doesn't everyone realize that history is sensitive and friendly?
Well, the only ones that could reenact history are in Hollywood, where they can appropriately put the right filters on it. That's what's going on.
Well, Herman P. Hunter says he is now the bionic hedge. I hope that recovery is going well for you.
Yeah.
Man. It doesn't sound like a lot of fun. What
See
you're
the
doing.
$6 million hedge?
The
United States, that must cost a whole lot.
I'm more than happy for my federal taxpayer dollars to go to rebuilding the hedge, making him bigger, badder, bushier.
We have the technology, the hedgeology.
I'm down as long as he makes the same sound effects as the $1 Million Man, you know.
Yes.
I need to get a clip of that sound effect.
Yeah, that reenactment stuff reminds me of all of the Redskins stuff.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
football team. Because I don't understand, or I'm not familiar with the entire story, but I think part of it was actually one of the Native Americans had actually drawn or come up with the name or something. That I think they'd drawn the logo or something, and so that logo had been used specifically because it was from one of the native peoples that had actually done it.
Yeah, I believe it. And didn't they decide to change the name back recently?
So there was a lot of native people that were arguing to get the name back, but it sounds like what they're at least doing right now is they've been allowed to use the logo again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of people arguing about the name, and it's like the native tribes actually want the name back, but it sounds like it's the white, it's the crazy people that are fighting for people's rights that are trying to prevent the name from coming back. Kind of like Uncle Ben, the guy that actually came up with the recipe, got erased off of his box of
Right?
like, really?
Or Aunt Jemima.
Yeah,
It's a cultural influencer.
The descendants that were actually getting royalties from their face being used. They're like, nope, you don't get that anymore. Progress.
Yeah, kind of weird
Land
how
O'Lakes.
their social virtue signaling saves them money somehow.
It's almost like it's by design.
Well, no, they would never be, in their own interests.
Not these major corporations.
These corporations love us. Look at all the commercials they do for us.
So is 2024 the year of the bomb? I mean, there's many years since the pandemic that we could call the year of the box office bomb, but is this the true year? Or is next year going to be the real year of the box office bomb?
Not only the box office bomb, but the video game bomb.
It's got to be 2025 because it has to be Snow White has to be the bottom.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
every aspiring internet reviewer is just salivating for when that movie comes out.
And it's fitting as well because it's the first cinematic feature of the Walt Disney Corporation.
All right. This one's for Herman. Here we go.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Better, stronger, faster.
Is that how it works?
Little $6 million man in there. He says, I'm actually feeling a lot better now. The selling has gone down a lot. So I'm having a lot of I'm
going to say swelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, we can change.
Yeah, when he said the selling, I thought, what?
He's obviously talking about his books. Yes, yeah, the selling has gone down. People buy his book. He's been in the hospital. He couldn't be out telling people to buy his book. The selling is down.
Yeah, and you know what? When he first popped on, I went over to the little clips. You know how I got all those little quick snippets for everybody's stuff. I realized I have not made that one for I was gonna make one for The Revenant in the Tomb. I never made it. Sorry, Herman. I was gonna play it for you and I forgot to actually make it.
Well, that's why the selling is down. Clearly,
I
Probably.
mentioned
Oh, my
waiting for a
fault.
second book for before Christmas, and I'm guessing that's the reason why I did not get a fun book for Christmas.
The Skunks Workshop says, in relation to what we were talking about earlier, society monetized victimhood.
Oh yeah.
They really
Oh.
did.
I have one more story. This actually puts the whole bow on my rant earlier about the PHMC. So back around 2008 or 2009, the state, of course, was cutting money. You know, they were cutting left and right because we were in the supposed Great Recession of 08, which everybody calls it the Big Recession. And I'm like, but we lived through 2020, and that wasn't an economic. 2008 was worse than the pandemic. Anyways, I'm ranting. 2008, the state made a lot of budget cuts, including the PHMC, because the PHMC is grossly underfunded, and they decided they were going to have to close several museums. They were going to close Bushy Run Battlefield and the Fort Pitt Museum, 2 military history sites in the Pittsburgh area. The Fort Pitt Museum became acquired by an affiliate of the Smithsonian, and in Bushy Run Battlefield, and they entered an agreement where the volunteer group that was already taking charge of a lot of the events, they would run the daily operations, being supervised by a state employee. And the state would provide the funding for the basic infrastructure of the site. So the state wanted rid of this particular park back in 2008. And then we had the whole politically incorrect stuff about the reenactment. And then they wanted to shut down the only major income for this site a few years ago. It's like, make your mind up, state. Do you want the park or do you not want the park?
Yeah, they don't understand how money actually works.
Or it's not that they don't understand how money works, it's they're just trying to figure out how to have it both ways.
Because the county, I'm sure the people of the county would be more than happy to take it into their hands and have their tax dollars support it. If the state doesn't want it. Okay, I'm done ranting about that. It's just, oh God, there's a whole saga about that particular site. Again, love the people that are there, love the people that do work at museums. It's the agency heads that are in the Capitol.
It's the management that doesn't understand the daily process or whatever that's the cause of the problem. Yeah. Hey, King Bob.
Yes, you are politically incorrect. Bob is always incorrect. But voting him to be king was great. Did we not disagree that was a good political move? That was politically correct, making him king.
Yeah, it was. What do you think, James? This background music matching up with the
yeah, I think it matches up pretty good. Yeah, it does actually.
This is from Chill Kid.
I'll probably die soon. Nice. There's a little bit of lag from usual. So then I'm filling it in the controls, and this is a big fight.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to die earlier. You seem to be getting hit by a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah. This one's definitely going to be it. I can feel it. I'm just going to unload all my rockets.
Yep, shield is gone. Ooh, half hull.
Oof.
Usually these little drones are easy to take out, but yeah, there's a little bit of lag.
I hate controller lag.
Yes, it's definitely because of the stream. You know, always blame it on the stream.
That's right. That's what we're here for.
Ooh, there you go. Finally got me. But now you're watching a roguelike in process. Now that we're officially done, it gives me my statistics. How much cash I got, and the only thing that comes with me is basically the cash. Everything else stays there, and then you just
so you really can take it with you.
And you spend you spend the cash on your ship here. You can get more guns, more slots for stuff, better health. All right here, or you can buy yourself a brand new ship. And that's kind of like
it looks like Airwolf. People can ask, why is there a helicopter in space?
There's only these 3. In this version, but once again, this is a 99-cent game, so you can pick that up Everspace right now for 99 cents on Steam.
Which one?
Everspace.
Everspace.
Everspace, yes. Pretty fun game, 99 cents. Right now, I picked up a bunch of little 99-cent games. Not 99 cents, like $4.99 and down. And I purchased one game. I think that was like $18 with my leftover money at the end of the month. This is one of them. This is the cheapest one, and it's one of the better ones. It's one of the better ones. I had a lot of fun playing this one.
Space Bug.
That's why it's Space Pug. This is what the pilot looks like behind all that. I was the one. In space, no one knows you a pug.
Oh, the original one. Okay, I see that the second one has come out.
Yes, the original one. I really like just picking up old school games, or cheap games that have been out for like 8, 9, 10 years on the cheap. Just because their quality still, and I haven't played them. So there you go. Pug Life.
Pug Life, yeah.
Whoa, look at that one. Paramount erases Star Trek Discovery canon. Fans celebrate a potential return to tradition.
Which one was Discovery?
Was
that the most recent one?
STD, the one people call STD.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. I think people are putting too much emphasis on it. I think it was more in good fun than anything. But this article is from That Park Place, and it's by M. Montanaro. This was published on Christmas. It says, we saved this one for Christmas Day because we wanted to spread a little good cheer on this special day. Paramount has officially scrubbed the maligned and controversial Star Trek Discovery from canon, setting it in an alternate timeline that doesn't impact the prime story fans have loved for decades. This could be true. It all depends on how serious you want to take this, because the source is an episode of Lower Decks. What's up, Otter?
Hey, everyone. How's everybody doing tonight?
We're enjoying the death of Star Trek. How about you?
Well, actually, potential resuscitation. It might be a good first step, but I don't know how concrete I want to take it.
No,
like
I don't want
ago,
a zombie. I don't want a Star Trek zombie.
The ultimate source of this
zombie.
comes from the show Lower Decks. So take that for what it's worth. They love to do themselves.
Nice.
Was Discovery the one that brought Picard back out of
No,
retirement?
it's the prequel to supposed to be a prequel to the original series with Spock's adopted sister, Michael Burnham.
Okay.
Huh. Okay, yeah. I don't even think I even heard about that one.
Okay, well, this is interesting because Lower Decks did lampoon it in a very specific way. All right, not only has Paramount officially canceled Star Trek Discovery, it utterly erased the broader Star Trek canon. Well, not from the canon, but perhaps from the main timeline. For many fans, especially those wary of the series' controversial direction, this decision is a welcome relief that promises to restore the beloved continuity of the Star Trek universe. Again, hopeful, but I think we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves there. The Star Trek Discovery debuted with high expectations, but over its run, it faced significant backlash from segments of the fan base. Criticisms range from drastic changes in the portrayal of iconic species, such as Klingons, to deviations from established timeline and character arcs. The early seasons set the series in the past, but inconsistencies soon emerged, leading to widespread dissatisfaction. And yeah, one thing us Star Trek nerds will do is pick apart every little inconsistency we can find. All right. Let me see if I can get ahead to the good part here.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go back to watching Wormhole Extreme.
Okay, here we go. Oh, Deep Space Nine?
No, so in Stargate, they have an alien from another planet that ends up in Hollywood, and he loses his memory, and so he's pitched this TV series called Wormhole Extreme, which is kind of about the Stargate system. and the military is actually letting it go because it's a cover for the Stargate. So if anything ever gets out, that's just from Wormhole Extreme.
Gotcha. Oh, is this the same guy that the one who used to play Aaron Soon in Farscape pitched a knockoff of Farscape to him? And he's like, "You're right. I've never heard of that one before." Definitely leaning against some fourth walls on that one, but
Yeah, I think this is earlier in the series before they joined. So I think it's like
was
season
it Ben
4
Browder
or
and
5.
Claudia Black?
Yeah, they come in like the last season or 2 of Stargate SG-1, I think. And this,
Yeah.
I think, is in season 4 or 5.
And I understand why they brought them in, because if they were trying to, I mean, after they lost a couple of their main big names in the show, and they want to bring it in, those two would definitely have caught the attention of sci-fi fans. All right, anyway, this goes, in an unexpected move, Paramount utilizes the final episode of Star Trek Lower Decks to address the controversy surrounding Discovery. According to Giant Freaking Robot, Lower Decks officially confirmed that Discovery exists in an alternate universe, separated from the main Star Trek timeline. Is they telling us how they did it, or do I have to Okay, here it is. There's a rift surrounded by a Schrodinger possibility field that remaps matter into alternate reality versions from the multiverse. This event transformed the main timeline Klingons into those seen in Discovery, clearly delineating between the two universes. Consequently, while Lower Decks remains canon and part of the Prime timeline, Discovery is relegated to an alternate reality, mitigating its previous inconsistencies. Now remember, this is Star Trek Lower Decks. Everything they do is pretty much tongue-in-cheek, and so, I mean, to call this a definitive removing it from the timeline, I don't know about that, although they did really imply that. So that might be, they might actually do that. I guess if fans cheer about it enough, they might say, make that canon. Who knows? But there's a lot of things that Lower Decks does that you can't get away with in other Trek shows. And whether you really want to consider Lower Decks to be solid Prime timeline canon, I guess technically it's supposed to be, but that could have just been them, Easter egging us, So what do you guys think? How many Trekkies do I have in here tonight?
I'm kind of sort of a Trekkie. I don't know where everybody else kind of falls on the spectrum, though. For me, it's one of those cases where, I mean, I am joining this conversation just a little late, so I'm going to be I'm cautious. I'm not sure if I'm optimistic about it. We'll just have to see what the final product ends up being.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, I'm with the
Bob
return.
says I kill time watching Voyager right now. Well, not right now.
Yeah, I think Voyager was the last. Voyager and Deep Space Nine were probably the last Star Treks I really watched. A couple of years ago, I did go back whenever they were still on Netflix. I went back through and started with the original series, and then Next Generation, and went all the way up to the very end. Let's see. I think I even went back and watched Star Trek Enterprise.
That one grew on me.
Yeah.
It took a bit, but that one grew on me.
Yeah.
King Bob says, I'm a Trekkie until Enterprise, never finished it. Yeah, understandable, but like I said, that one grew on me. They even gave the reason why Klingons in the original series didn't have the forehead ridges, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they were really dedicated to the lore, to the kayfabe back then.
Yeah, I didn't watch. I mean, I saw an episode here or there, but I'm trying to remember. There was some other series that may have been Stargate or something else, was in the exact same time slot as Star Trek Enterprise when it originally came out. So like I said, I only got to see an episode here or there originally, And so in a lot of cases, I'd show up to watch an
Witch is
episode,
surrounded by a shrub.
no clue what was going on. But later went back and rewatched the entire thing. It was good. I liked the earlier seasons more than the towards the end.
Yeah, that was it right there.
Yes.
When the possibility field was hitting them. Right, let's see, right here. The Klingons become everything starts morphing to its alternate universe forms. And I think I didn't back up far enough. Here it is. Yeah, it hits this Klingon and he turns into one from Star Trek Discovery. And he looked at himself all horrified too. So I mean, that could have just been them,
Yeah, maybe.
taking their own dig at Discovery without anything too serious.
Maybe. I think time will tell. Let's see if there's any actors bitching on the internet in a couple days. That could be a good sign.
Oh boy. Come in.
Okay, that's weird.
What's that?
Worf turning into one?
No.
Okay.
Worf was mutated in an episode,
Okay.
and some of the
Okay.
Klingons in that.
Anything thing call.
Some of the Klingons in that lower decks clip turned into that version of a Klingon. The mutated Worf version.
Okay.
Not into Worf, but into the same kind of mutated version that Worf became in that episode. Suggesting there's a multiverse out there where that happened to all the Klingons. King Bob says, if you need bitching, I can do that. I'm very good at it.
Oh, the holidays.
Well, if you want, King Bob, feel free to hop on and do some. Got no problem with that.
Come on, King Bob. You know you're capable.
Do it.
Do it. Embrace the dark side.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Get to the chopper.
Wormhole Extreme.
Yeah.
No, you're a
Oh, God.
wormhole extreme.
Who said Wormhole Extreme? Oh, I see. Raven Evermore. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I know the Wormhole Extreme. That's from an episode of Stargate where they're making fun of Stargate.
Yes. Oh, were you going to share it?
Oh, is it not playing?
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's not sharing.
Oh, my bad. Hang on. Hang on.
I heard the audio. Oh, there it is.
Hey, it's what I do. Yolanda Reese as the brilliant Major Stacy Monroe.
Postron and field emitters are offline, but I can compensate by generating a feedback loop.
Raymond Gunn.
Yeah, so I feel like it threw in like some Star Trek into the Stargate.
Then they don't have rights.
Oh, I remember seeing the making of Wormhole Extreme, I think, where the guy says, well, I'm playing... Oh, I just went blank on his name, originally by James Spader.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, what
that's
was
a
his
funny
name?
clip. I did.
Daniel Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah, he goes, I'm playing Jackson, who's actually played by this guy, who was originally played by James Spader. I was like,
Yes.
it was...
That was a good one. I'm playing Daniel Jackson, who was I'm playing Daniel Jackson, who was being played by Michael Shanks, who was originally being played by James Spader. And they leave it in the actual show. It's hilarious. The behind the scenes are always the best of these old school shows, man. They had a lot of fun.
Do DVDs still do that, by the way? Do you still have like the movie
so.
with commentary and then the behind the scenes interviews where They used to actually talk about making the show. Now they talk about their political leanings instead.
I hope so. They had some good ones on Stargate. They'd always do jabs at what's his name, Jack O'Neill. His real name.
Yeah.
I mean, because he
MacGyver or
MacGyver.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Yes, there's like an episode I remember where they're like where they're like stuck in this ice cavern. He's like, I don't think we got enough to dig ourselves up. It's like, what? You're MacGyver. There should be enough for you to build a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, I think in one episode they actually say they MacGyvered it or something.
There's the first episode. They found the what was it, the council that operated the wormhole on the end that they went to, and I think it was Amanda Tapping's character. She goes, "This is it. This is all they need. We have to like rig together so many computers, blah 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 blah." Yeah, and goes through all this technobabble. She says, "Just to MacGyver a system that can do this."
Yeah.
Yeah, you always got to love those inside jokes.
I know somebody that literally the only reason why he watched it was because of MacGyver.
Really?
That was back when the actor sold the show, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. He was a big TV name on 10 years of MacGyver.
Yeah, he was. I mean, nowadays, I mean, it's people will go to the movie to see their favorite characters. Not many go anymore to see their favorite actor. It used to be, this person's clean, I'm going to go see the movie, not because they're familiar with the IP already, but because they like this person's acting. Now it's people only go if it's about a subject or character they already know and like. They don't care who's playing it.
That's because I don't want to go pay to see people who hate me.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think a lot of the allure of the actors being there in the first place has kind of been taken away with social media. You kind of realize what a lot of them actually think about you, and a lot of people are disgusted by it.
Yeah, there's a similar thing that's happening with the Daily Wire as Brett Cooper left her show, and the gal that's taking it over is just losing audience massively.
Well, you know, a lot of them are there for the original host. Man.
Yeah,
they
were there for the personality, not the reporting itself. I mean, they're there for the reporting too, but they want to follow the personality that was bringing.
That's right. Brett is winning all those subscriptions back before she even did a first show.
Oh yeah, and the crazy thing was them getting the other gal to take the acting classes. That's just super weird.
There's a lot of weird stuff that happened because she wasn't just any girl that replaced her. She was her maid of honor at her wedding.
She was her producer for the show, wasn't she?
Yep. Yep, producer of the show and her maid of honor.
I'm pretty sure her audience has followed her to her own channel by now.
Yeah. I don't think she's even posted a video yet, and her follower count just has exploded.
Yeah, she was at what, 400K?
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Some large number, and it's unknown when she's going to start doing videos again, if she does any, because one of the rumors is maybe, she went off because I guess her and her husband are looking to have kids and stuff, and the Daily Wire stuff was too much or something. Who knows? Lots and lots of speculation, no real clear answers as to what's going on.
Brett Cooper.
There's a lot of speculation going on. To the best of my knowledge, nothing concrete has been said, but there's a lot of assumptions that she got screwed over. Maybe she did. I don't know. But I mean, the rumors just started flying left and right. It's like,
Oh yeah.
has anyone even heard a word from anybody on either side of this? If there's even a side to be had.
There's just one side, the Daily Wire version, which is
Yep.
just the official, like, politically correct communique that was put out.
I'm wondering if how long her NDA is for. Because if it's not infinite, she may come out in a couple of years and actually say something.
She is at 494K subscribers.
Wow, almost 500. Well, good for her. The more time goes on, the more people talk about it, the more people are finding out about it and moving over.
And still 0 videos on the channel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, while she's got all those subscribers, she needs to start putting some stuff out pretty quick.
She needs to put out.
Yeah. Well, so there's also been some speculation on possibilities as to why she quit, but then what she might possibly do with her new channel. And one of the funny ones that I heard was, well, she may end up doing what is it called? Not farming.
Homesteading?
Yes, the homesteading stuff. And so she may end up, her whole new channel may be about homesteading or something. Just speculation. It would be interesting if she did.
The Trad Wife channel.
You know, we may laugh at that, but that actually has quite the appeal in our current cynical age.
I wasn't
Oh, yeah.
laughing. I wasn't laughing.
Yeah.
I know.
Who wouldn't love a Trad Wife at this moment?
So, do you think she'll still do her political commentary, or is she probably just going to stick to the homesteading?
Maybe. Is that why she got kicked out? We really don't know, do we?
Yeah, it's not really clear
Well,
why.
it's more social than political, but
Yeah.
it's still very much, tied in with a lot of the social political stuff.
I never really followed her channel, so I don't really know.
I'd watch
Yeah,
the
I
video
haven't
from her
either.
from time to time, not very often.
Yeah, it seems more social and like a friend of mine's daughter watches her videos a lot and stuff, and it seems like it's stuff for girls, high school to college age type stuff in a lot of cases, or stuff they're interested in. But then with her political twist or whatever.
And she's what, conservative?
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe so. But the conservative sphere kind of seems really weird right now, and I think part of it is just because it's a quiet lull, and so a bunch of crazy stuff has been going on, like Candace Owens going after Babylon Bee. I was like, what in the world's going on?
What happened after the election? They got a win, but they still have to keep fighting.
Well, so I think it's just the left is kind of falling apart, and so they're not making a huge amount of, or there's nobody on that side to really go after at this point in time. So they're,
Why
I
go
guess-
after anybody?
yeah. So
Well, a lot of them thrive. A lot of people from like the Daily Wire and other groups, they rely on drama to get them by.
yeah.
And well, whenever you're out of that type of material to go through, it's like you start creating problems. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of similar to a lot of leftist circles actually, which is really the big issue.
They always
So-
need to have a boogeyman.
Right, and this
Yeah.
is where I really start disagreeing with figures like Melanie Mack and such, where it's like all of a sudden the stuff you're championing for, you turn against it and go against it, act like it's a problem so people pay more attention to you.
Dude, I swear I've been Pavloved with Melanie Mack. Like, you said her name and then I heard faggots in my head, you know.
Hey,
I saw that
I've
the
been
other day.
really railing against her for the Goonergate shit. Like, this is right after her, like, championing Stellar Blade and then basically saying, oh yeah, First Descendant is a porn game. I'm like, no, it's not. Have you even played the game?
She's
Like,
pretty
I don't
good at-
even like the game. I've played it, and it's not for me, but I'm like, I can safely say it's not a porn game.
No, I think she's pretty good at getting into people's heads. It feels
Well,
like
it's her
marketing.
job. That's
Yes.
that's the the
Yes.
symptom and also part of the problem.
Never forget it. You know.
And Candace Owens, I can kind of understand because that's actually where she came from. She was originally a leftist, and then because she was involved in something, I don't remember what it was, where they were putting lists of people together or something. And at some point, I don't remember whether it was that she found religion or something else, but she just kind of changed over time, and now she's supposedly right-wing or conservative or something. I'm not really sure, but she still seems to have some of the authoritarian. Maybe she might end up going around and start putting lists together again.
Well, what's considered right wing nowadays is a little wonky because
Yeah.
the left went completely insane. So the traditional liberals left the Democratic Party because it's no longer the Democratic Party of like Kennedy or anything like that. It's
Oh, yeah.
completely different than it used to be. And a lot of the Democrat liberals went,
I've
hey,
had
the
so
people
many
running the party have gone
people-
bonkers. This isn't what we're about. And they've left the Democrats and joined the Republicans. So
I've had-
Republicans are kind of a mixed bag of everything now.
Yep.
What I was gonna say is I've had so many people, especially in the history community, try to like explain in like scholarly terms, oh, what is the political evolution? It's happened over the years, bullshit. I'm like, no, the Democratic Party went batshit. There's certain things I'm like, there's just a point where I'm like, here's a trend, and then it just spiked. And I have no qualm saying, I'm like, they went batshit a couple years ago. I mean, it was building up for some time, but the fueling of the social media, warping how humans communicate, it just led to, let's be fair, probably both political parties going batshit, but the Democratic Party particularly, because they weaponized everybody's
Yeah.
they weaponize everybody's mental illness from social media. That's what happened. They weaponize it to try to control their power. That Republican Party struggled with trying to figure out how to use social media for a while. Democrats strapped onto it like a rocket, went right past the Republican Party, and then proceeded to crash the entire country into a brick wall.
Yeah, the
What's up,
Republican
Rondo?
Party, the Republican Party isn't like innocent of it either. Their role in this has been the honorable loser, like acting like an actual
Hard.
form of resistance.
Going on a
but-
podcast, that's beyond us, is what they did for several elections, puffing their chest. Huh, going on Twitter, that's not true communications. That's above us. We must have a civil debate in a town hall. Yeah, that didn't do well.
That's a Barron Trump idea going on the podcast. Trump really did figure out social media, or was it Barron that helped him figure it out?
I think Barron helped a lot.
I think he did too.
But I think part of it is it's kind of shifted from being a left versus right to kind of a bit more of an authoritarian versus liberty. But I think we're kind of starting to swing back around because
Oh, yeah.
Blackburn is trying to bring up the Kids Online Safety Act again. And I'm like, no, we don't need that. No. Because that's another authoritarian thing. And it's like, we just went through a whole bunch of censorship. Why would we go and pass another round of censorship on purpose?
They're addicted to it. These people want to control everybody's lives.
Well, the last thing that's actually going to work in its favor is state legislation. So it usually, when it comes to regulation, it ends up having the opposite intended effect of basically becoming the counterculture, and the counterculture is never not going to be cool.
Do I hear a call to refer to prohibition? Because that worked really well to stop alcohol spreading across the United States and being enjoyed by the millions and millions of Americans.
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the pendulum swinging too far the other way is going to be an issue, unfortunately. Because, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But
another thing to always keep in mind is Trump isn't exactly, he's not your regular Republican.
No, technically,
he's not a Republican.
Yeah, he's not even a Republican. Like he's more of a Democrat from about 30 years ago. That's how I would kind of like classify him.
Yeah, JFK, if he were running on the same principles today, would be considered far right.
If you actually look at the Clinton platform, it sounds very Republican today.
Yeah, even Hillary Clinton was like more right than Trump on some policies.
That Overton window and shoved around.
Here's the thing, like the Democratic Party policy today is just overt socialism, communism. Like that's what it is. So it's like, yeah, of course, Democratic policies 30 years ago are going to seem right wing by comparison because the alternative is literal fucking like Leninist communism.
The rocket, man. They latched onto that rocket and went so fast. They sped run several decades in a matter of 10.
Well, I think it's a matter of desperation. And the thing is, like, communism has to operate on a certain level of gradual indoctrination through media and also kind of like the wedge in the door type principle. What we've been seeing more is an actual effective movement against that. And they don't know how to counteract it because a lot of those who are actually advocating for communism now are like the grandsons and daughters of those who were originally setting up the policies, like actually following core Marxist principles. The thing is, they don't have the subtlety that a lot of those same communists and socialists did back in the day, and in the like 1920s all the way through the I would argue through like the 1980s, 1990s, where you have a certain level of subtlety laced in with your kind of like movies and storytelling that makes it more digestible.
James, were you sailing your spaceship across the water?
Oh, well, this is a different game, and it's not a spaceship. It's a giant vehicle in a post-apocalyptic stylized world. I picked this game up. I think it was like less than $4. I remember seeing it when it came out years ago, and it's just about getting your ship or your vehicle just to continuously move through this post-apocalypse and solve these small trials here, and just keep it going. It's like very stylized in nature, and you get upgrades and stuff.
Looks very similar to that game Inside.
It kind of does, doesn't it? And you just
guys want to check out a game trailer I found on Twitter?
A Twitter game trailer, huh?
Do it.
Sounds like The Raft. I missed what you were referring to at the time it was posted. Sorry, King Bob. Let's see. All right. Here we go. This is called Super Roboy. Not a heck of a lot to go on, but I thought it looked pretty cool.
Super Roboy, huh? There are a lot of very interesting ones out there.
I want to see if It's got a. Here's a little bit more. Oof.
It's supposed to be like a sequel to Super Meat Boy.
I don't think it's a sequel to anything. I think it's its own thing. This is it's a Twitter account I found just the other day.
Yeah, I don't think it's by the same creator as Super Meat Boy. He's gone fully into like the Binding of Isaac. What else has he done since then?
Which also Binding of Isaac is on sale.
I'm not familiar with Binding of Isaac.
It's a roguelike.
Well, that roguelike is very vague. That just means procedurally generated, right?
So it's kind of like a roguelike type bullet hell dungeon crawler. That's how I'd narrow it down a bit.
Because like Sundered was called roguelite, and
I wouldn't.
What's the other? Dead Cells is considered roguelite.
Dead Cells is roguelite. I'm not sure Sundered is.
Well, it doesn't have the exact I mean, it has the same overall map, but the hallways and caverns change every time you start over or you get killed. It like reshuffles them. It procedurally generates. So
roguelike has procedural generation and is a big part of it, but it's not the end all be all. Like, it's procedurally generated, therefore it's a roguelike.
That's what I thought. I thought the two terms were synonymous.
Yeah, there's roguelike is actually the one you're thinking of, LITE. Believe it or not, there's two of them: roguelike, LIKE, and roguelite, LITE.
Yep. I remember Total Biscuit explaining the difference between the two.
Yes, roguelike, or the hard K, has permadeath features involved in it, compared to roguelite, which usually has a lot more RPG-based elements and can kind of skew around with the formula, but the overall formula is you're playing through levels that are randomly generated, and you have some form of permadeath, but usually, like the game I was playing earlier, you die and you got to start all over from the beginning, but you keep all your upgrades along the way, with some of them actually disappearing, like crafting materials, but all advancements to your ship and such, like any advancements in currencies usually take you to like a spending page where you get to further upgrade your character. I know it's very it's very interesting, and almost splitting hairs a bit, but video
there's
game
been some
fans.
talk going around lately about naming conventions for games.
Yeah.
Like
all the likes and clones and all.
Yeah,
of that.
exactly. For example, FPS, first person shooter, that's the current term. But for a while they're all called Doom likes.
Yep.
And then until it finally got its own thing. And someone was saying the video game industry has a problem, and primarily it's the players who keep dubbing things after a game that already exists that doesn't really explain what kind of game it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Metroidvania would be part of that. For example, if you didn't already know, you've probably heard enough from me for what Metroidvania means. But some people are saying that doesn't really convey what kind of game it is to those who don't already have familiarity with the gaming world. So if you go to someone who's into gaming and say, check out a Metroidvania, they'd be like, what's that? It doesn't really define what the game does.
That's true. It's not really like
for FPS or first person shooter.
You kind of get an idea
what kind of game it is. And so, yeah, we got a little bit of an issue with the naming conventions because we describe it You don't, or if you're not already familiar
They're
with the
kind
game,
of they're
description-
named after the descriptions seem to be named after games, and if you're not familiar with that particular game, you're gonna have a hard issue with it. Like
Yeah.
Souls-like games, you know. What the hell does
Roguelike
that
is
mean?
even worse because
Yeah.
Rogue is a very old game at this point.
That's why I say we
Yes.
should call all video games Pong likes.
Pong-like.
Oh. Yep.
By the way, have you guys ever played the original Rogue?
No.
I've seen gameplay.
It's surprisingly fun even today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy it just for the simple charm of, like, it's a classic dungeon crawl. You will likely die, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit, I'm not a big fan of the procedurally generated because all this time I spent trying to memorize an area now means nothing.
Depends on the type of game, because Rogue itself, like, death is very common, so it's more about seeing how far down the dungeon you can go before you actually end up dying.
But can you
That's-
actually beat the game?
Not really. That's not really
That's
the
kind of
point.
like not the point of
It's
a
more kind of
roguelike.
like, think of it kind of like a high score type mentality, only for
How far
seeing
can
how
you
far
get?
down you can go.
Yeah. Just not my
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
Nothing wrong with it,
You're a Metroidvania guy. You know, it's
I
completely
want to see an
different.
end to it. Like zombies in Call of Duty drove me nuts because no matter how good you were, you're not going to win. Herman played the original Rogue and Moria.
Maria, yes. They also have the game Children of Moria, which is also on sale.
We shall go to the mines of Moria.
Hey, Christy.
Hello, friends. Friends, hello. But yeah, I like roguelikes and roguelites, rogue T's and rogue K's. Yeah, I like those more than I actually like Metroidvanias, just being honest. They're fun games, though, you know, if you can get the right ones. And every now and then somebody will put their own spin on it, like Slay the Spire introduced deck building to roguelike games.
I really do enjoy Slay the Spire. The game's a lot of fun.
Yes, definitely a fun one. I picked up one very similar to it, focuses on martial arts and has that 80s aesthetic retro look. Been enjoying them.
This looks interesting. What is this called? This is called Lone Fungus on Kickstarter.
The
Lone Fungus. Looks like a straight up Mario style platformer.
Yep. It looks like a Mario clone. You play as the mushroom this time.
Yeah.
You can't get me, Mario.
This time you are the shroom.
Mario's eaten too many mushrooms, and now he is one.
Oh, wait. Did I see a map? I guess this isn't what I thought it was. I see a map, and now I'm like, oh, maybe it's not just a straight up platformer. I did not go back far enough.
It's got an
Kung
overworld.
Fu.
Yeah, an overworld a little bit like Mario.
Yeah, and then I see. Does that mean save station? So maybe this is a little more exploratory than I thought. See if we can find some more info on this. See, this was posted October 27th.
I mean, the visuals are nice. It's got a nice color palette.
Nope, it's a Metroidvania.
Okay, nice.
I'm always good with that. I am stuck on Axiom Verge 2 right now. I've gone all around the map 3 or 4 times now, and I still can't figure out where I'm supposed to go next.
So
I know where I'm supposed to get to, just not how to get there.
when you say the Metroidvania, like the Vanias from Castlevania?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a blend of the names between like it's like Metroid meets Castlevania, Metroidvania.
And usually that started, I think, specifically with Symphony of the Night, when you could backtrack, get power ups, had ability gated areas.
Ah, all right.
Because technically, most of the Castlevania games aren't true Metroidvanias. You just keep moving forward and doing the best you can until you finally get to the end of the levels and beat the bad guy.
Gotcha.
Metroidvania, you see areas you try to get to and you can't quite get there. So you explore elsewhere, you find a new ability and go, hey, with this, I can get back over there where I couldn't before.
So is the original Zelda a Metroidvania?
Technically, no.
Yeah.
But I've wondered that myself many times. Just like, why isn't The Legend of Zelda considered a Metroidvania?
It technically is, because people consider Dark Souls a Metroidvania. Dark Souls takes a lot of inspiration from the original Legend of Zelda. So technically, you could argue, yes, it is.
I'm not familiar with Dark Souls. Like, how does it take from Legend of Zelda?
So a lot of the world itself is built off you only knowing so much about it. Because it's like technically there is leveling up, but it's about you getting to a certain point further on as the world itself loops around in on itself. You'll, like, a good example is you end up coming to the starting area, you go through an undead parish all the way to a chapel, you end up finding a lift that goes down, and you realize it ends up all the way back to where you started. It unlocks a new passage. So it's like you're creating shortcuts for yourself as you go deeper into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Guilty Gearhead said, howdy, y'all. Hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Hey, Guilty. Yeah, pretty
Hail,
good.
Guilty.
And Rondo says, Slay the Spire, the game where you can play 1,000 hours and still suck.
Well, card games, which I'm playing one myself right now. It's heavily inspired by Slay the Spire with a retro twist.
And Christy asks, how is that little mushroom going to be able to reach the ladder? Power-ups, that's how.
You can jump, right?
I think so. I hope if you can't jump,
Look.
then you're not going to do good.
He can double jump. He can whip.
Swing.
Do a little bit of everything.
He does a lot of Castlevania type stuff with whips.
I went to play one of the older Castlevanias and the other day, and I was like, this whip action kind of not doing it for me like it used to. I used to like play this game and love it, and now I'm like,
which one did
it's
you play?
too slow. I can only whip forward. I can't whip upward.
Was that
It was the one on the Genesis.
Oh, the Genesis.
Yeah, it surprised me. You couldn't. You could only whip forward. You couldn't whip up at all.
But it was a Nintendo game. I didn't know it was on Genesis.
It's Konami.
Oh, damn.
But even on the Super Nintendo, I think it was Super Castlevania, you could whip at all sorts of different angles.
Yes, it was like 8 directions. But if you,
I
thought you were going to say, I thought you were going to talk about like number 2 or number 1 on the NES, because those were a little bit more limited back then.
Yeah, but I planned to play the one on the Genesis, and you could only whip straight forward, and it was a little sluggish. Felt a little sluggish, and I was like, "Yeah, this just ain't doing it for me." I'm spoiled by all the modern Metroidvanias where you can shoot in all the directions and everything.
Yeah, it's gameplay is the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, and at the time that would have been considered good. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just it surprised me when you could whip at angles on the Super Nintendo, but not on the Genesis. Because didn't the Genesis have more memory? Therefore, they could do more options in there, I thought.
No, Genesis was actually less than Super Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah, they were bragging a lot on the commercials, but they were less. Yeah, pretty sure. Because they came out.
I think they had like a dual processor. It was like instead of being a 16-bit processor, it was 2 8-bit processors or something.
Yeah, and they came out earlier than Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo came out a year after or something.
Oh, a little snippet of the creator's own playthrough. Let's check it out.
I told you 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. Play a little bit more. I'm going to finish the demo. So, Kelpie. Blah, blah, blah.
I think it was Super Nintendo that started the whole speed running thing.
That wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Christy, I'm sure you lie awake at night contemplating that, don't you? Why do mushrooms look like weenies and flowers look like coochies?
One of life's many mysteries.
Yes, the world may never know.
I mean, it's God's way of making dick jokes. Come on.
Let it not be said that life didn't have a sense of humor.
I'm sure he has a sense of humor. I don't think dick jokes is part of it.
You don't think if you were like a God creating the world, you'd be like, okay, let's make mushrooms look like. It'll be hilarious. Maybe it's just me.
What was that meme? All these different plants that say, I look like this, I look like that, and then a mushroom saying, I hate this game. Yeah, I definitely want to check this out. This is coming out. Super Robo is coming out in January. I think it said January 20th. I'm definitely going to give that a check.
No, it looks interesting.
What was that other one? The Lone Fungus. That looks like fun too.
So is this like a this is an indie game from a solo creator?
Yeah, I think so. Skunk says biologically we share DNA with mushrooms. Learn that on Cosmos. He gets high, just look at the platypus. See, what was a comedian once said after he made all the other animals, then he went and I'm going to do like a greatest hits album and took a bit from a bunch of different animals. He's like, you took an oversized seal, the tusks of an elephant, and Burt Reynolds' mustache, put it together, boom, the walrus.
I'm kind of reminded of, what is it, a joke from John Panette's stand-up where he's like, God made all of these great creations, then he made his one mistake, which was the turnip. He's like, oh, I don't like this, so I just stuff it into the ground. Yeah, hopefully they won't find it there.
There's some people love turnips. I am not one of them.
They're all right.
Yeah, so what was that on Kickstarter, The Lone Fungus? I wonder if that's actually out now. You go back and see. Let's find out. Okay, it was funded on November 27th. I'd like to know. So we probably don't have a release date as of yet on this. But this does look like something I'd want to check out. This looks like it's going to be good, addictive, and aggravating.
Yeah, it looks like fun. This looks like a mix between a Mario and a Mega Man background.
Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of mixing and matching in this one that makes it interesting. Like it feels like Nintendo gameplay, but not pulled from just one game. It's like it pulls the best stuff of every game, it seems to me.
Can he crouch? Can he crawl? Why can't Metroid crawl? Inspirations? Nah.
Who needs those things?
Building on the shoulders of giants.
Lone Fungus. It looks like it's got a lot of potential.
Planned release date for the full game is in fall 2025.
Oh, good
Oh,
night,
and it's gonna-
Christina. Yeah.
The campaign, it's going to be on Switch. Yeah, I definitely want to look into getting a copy of that when it comes out. All right, Christy, you have a good night.
Nighty night.
Take care.
Good night, Christy.
And have a happy new year.
Happy
Yep,
New
Happy New Year.
Year.
And God bless us, everyone. Too late.
No, probably just the right time.
Oh, perfect.
So let's go back to Skunks' comment because I'm sure we could have all sorts of fun with this. Biologically, we share DNA with mushrooms. So how
Are you
many
saying
people are
I'm
gonna
not a
start
mushroom?
calling each other fungus?
Are we going to tap into the mushroom and listen to the sound of the mushroom?
Shrooms, man.
Shrew.
Also learned that on Cosmos, so take that for what it's worth.
This sounds like a discussion we should be having next to lava lamps and black light posters. You know,
Should we have a special shroom edition of Weekly Lingots? We're all just in like black light clothing.
Guilty Gearhead says Mega Man games on Switch eShop for sale 60% off. Anyone interested, by the way? I want to get physicals that though battle networks look cool.
yeah, I love the old retro Mega Man games.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I used to plow through those until I got killed a lot.
Yeah, you gotta take a lot of shots, but it's so addictive. The music is great. The gameplay is good.
Capcom, I mean, at least 80s into 90s. I don't know about if they're still that way now, but Capcom was very good with their music. I mean, they put out banger after banger of a soundtrack in their
Yeah.
games.
I want to get the Capcom Marvel versus series. They made
Yeah, the whole thing's available
Oh,
on
yeah.
Switch, which is a miracle in and of itself, considering
Yeah.
When Disney took over Marvel.
I'm holding out. I want to get a
shut lot of
Steam
that
Deck.
down. There were rights issues, so they couldn't put the game back out there. Now the whole collection is available
Yep.
on Switch. I don't think there's a physical copy, unfortunately. If there is, I might want to secure one of those for the shelf. But
I think there is for the PlayStation. You could get a physical copy on PlayStation 5 and I'm not sure.
I'll have to look that up. I always played Psylocke.
Oh, dude. And you can even have you have a region specific hidden characters. So like there's this Japanese weirdo that you have to be Japanese to know about him. But you can add him to the game and stuff. So there's just a whole bunch of it. And they added the Punisher game as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice add-on because apparently that's the game that led to the first Marvel Versus. It was their first kind of rights with the company.
Yeah, it was. That was a straight up beat 'em up though, side scrolling beat 'em up. I think.
kind of like
Double Dragon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Double Dragon.
But the what really kicked it off was when Capcom did the X-Men fighting game in the Street Fighter engine, and they popped Akuma in there as a hidden character. When people unlocked them, they were like, the fans were going nuts, like, can we do the X-Men and the Street Fighter? And eventually they got Marvel superheroes, and then they got X-Men versus Street Fighter. Then it was Marvel versus. I don't know if they did Marvel versus Street Fighter before doing Marvel versus Capcom, where you would have Mega Man in there as one of the characters you could fight with.
I think Street Fighter became first before Capcom. But initially, Marvel was like, hey, you got to take Akuma out of that Marvel game. And they're like, no, it's in the contract. You have to have at least one Street Fighter game character in the game. So like, all right, fine. But it, as you said, it opened up the gate for the combo games. And it's such a good move retroactively.
They did get a little overstuffed at one point where it's like they were bringing in obscure characters you could fight with, or obscure as far as my knowledge goes. Maybe they were a big hit elsewhere, but At the time, I was more.
Yeah, like there's this weird octopus character. I think they brought him in just because he's going to be a weird fighter. Iceman is interesting to see him in a fighting game.
Iceman, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it was fun beating the snot out of Apocalypse with Ryu and Ken.
Oh man. Juggernaut is the biggest character physically on screen. Like he takes up half of the screen.
Have a great night, Rondo. Happy New Year. God bless.
Oh, good night, Rondo. Happy New Year, yeah.
Happy New Year.
So you guys
around the corner.
Yeah, what a wild year, 2024. I'm glad we're out of this election cycle.
Yeah, me too.
They're already talking about the next one. It's like we never really leave election cycles
Yeah,
now.
Kamala versus JD Vance.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, they've been talking about AOC as well.
Yeah. You better hope she don't got any dirt because they'll tear her apart.
She's an old bartender. What kind of dirt can she have?
Jewish space laser.
Well, she hasn't been a bartender for close to, for a while now, I think. Who knows what she's been up to?
Yeah. No good, I suppose. Allegedly.
See, I got music playing in the background, but it's down so low I can't even hear it. I don't even know if it's appropriate to anything we got on screen right now.
Is James dishing out cards?
Yeah.
James, can we pop your screen?
I don't know how you share screens, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, man,
There you
that
go.
looks dope. Look, that is isometric.
This is inspired by Slay the Spire, the Slay the Spire clone.
Nice.
You play a martial artist, and then you slowly build a deck. Mine has a kind of ambiguous right now, and you essentially turn base. You get to move on the board with movement cards. There's a movement card. I'll move over here. And then the various enemies have various abilities. Like this guy, as soon as I hit, he's going to punch back. But this guy would just take all the hits. But of course, he's got a shotgun, so he's got range. But I really don't have much to do right now. So I'm just going to hit them with my two cards, 2 punches. Leaves me with 1 point, which I'm going to meditate. Heal me up a little bit. And then this will push them back and give me 2 shield. But he doesn't really move anywhere because in order to move, and he's got range, so he's about to shoot me regardless. So that 2 shields are not going to last long. So your character has a special ability. Mine is to move, so I'll move to this tile so nobody can hit me, and I end run, and now they do all their abilities, and it's my turn again once they're done with their movements. And this is a roguelike, so you got a variety of trials, and just gonna burn some cards here. Don't really have much to do. This is like really early on, or else you'd be able to do some magnificently crazy combos. But I'm just trying to stay alive right now because my deck is too ambiguous for the cards to actually work together and produce a lot of crazy combos. The combo I'm trying to build with this character is movement, but like I said, I haven't really got the appropriate cards yet. This card is special because it actually lets me advance, which allows me to move and do a damage. So he's technically doing a flying kick across the screen like that. And a basic punch will hit anybody around me, which is both of those dudes, so they're dead. And I think I'm gonna move here. Give this guy a burn, which applies damage over time, and then move out of the way. And then the turn. And so you can see it's really tactical as you go along, and as you unlock newer cards, you get to do a lot of really cool things. This does 8 damage and applies a shield. And I just punched this guy to death right here.
Are the cards randomly dealt each time?
They're not randomly dealt. They're like in a specific order. So you kind of know where you're going to start off with. But at the end of every game, they allow you to choose a card. I'm going to choose this one, a stun card. And then you get taken to this screen, And essentially, you have to get all the way to the end of here and complete one of these two above or below rows. The skull means that's a boss fight. This is a store. This is the last boss fight. As soon as you complete these, you complete the boss fight here. And then you just keep going down. And it's a roguelike, so it's how far can you get until you can't go any further. You go to the store, and then you can buy cards here. I'm seeing if there's any that are sort of the build I'm trying to make, but I'm not really seeing much here. I'm going to choose this one, though, because my character might catch on fire. And that is a passive ability. Every now and then you'll get a passive ability. And this is technically saving a kid. So it's going to give me the two options. One is to gain a new passive ability or a new active ability. Like my special ability lets me move. And this one will give me an extra one, which is gain 1 strength and apply 2 weakness. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and get actually, I don't have an extra one, so I'll gain that. And then essentially you just keep going until you can't go anymore. So let's get to the next boss fights. Let's start here. Which I'll probably die because of my ambiguous deck. But let's go at it. This is the boss right here who has more health than anybody else.
Good night, readout. Yeah.
Oh, he's out. I know. Here I am game explaining this entire time. Taking up the entire stream. I hope you've been enjoying my presentation on this random video game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I asked you.
Thank you for hearing out my TED Talk.
Right? Yeah. Thank you. The game's on sale. All the games I purchased are underneath $4. So this one,
have a great night, Animation. Thanks for stopping in.
I'm actually loving your presentation. I love this type of stuff.
This one has been I purchased a lot of them, and a lot of them are very unique. This one's probably the less unique, yet it's tried and tested formula, and I've been enjoying my time with the game. There's a character that's like freaking Mike Tyson that you get to play. Everybody likes Mike. You get to bite some ears off.
I like they're all simple little sprite, but they all have their unique animation. They're all jumping up and down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to move.
No, I know you already told us, but guilty ass, and I can't remember either. What's the name of the game again?
This one is Nitro Kid. It's almost like our guy Chill Kid made a video game. Very fun, very, very affordable right now. But this is basically what I've been doing over the Christmas break, because I've been usually super busy with 1,000 things, but it's Christmas, so things slow down a bit. And they slow
the
down.
Holidays is the best time to be playing games, man. Just
really is.
Yes.
No one's expecting anything from you. Everyone's off doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Another game you recommended me lately that looked pretty interesting. What was it? World of Horror?
World of Horror.
Really interesting.
I'm going to be showing that one off tomorrow on the art stream because I bought it specifically just for the art. All the art was made in
nice.
MS Paint. But it's heavily what was it called? Giant inspired?
Very Junji Ito inspired. I saw a lot of Uzumaki influence there.
Yes. I'll be playing that one tomorrow during the art stream because it's very artistic in nature.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. But when you go on these little sales sprees looking for games, you definitely find stuff you don't expect to see or that you just never been introduced to. So it was pretty fun seeing all these different games out there. And there is definitely a lot on sale, a lot of good ones. Some I wanted to play but ended up returning. I think I returned 7 different games.
Wow.
Out for something else because sometimes they just wouldn't work properly because I'm on a Mac, and other times is just there was definitely, because the good thing about being on a Mac, spyware doesn't just get on your computer easily, and Mac would bring up like a administration request saying Steam wants to record all your keystrokes on all applications, and that's that very game you're playing wanting to do that. Anybody knows what your keystrokes are? It's literally every time you hit your keyboard, type something in, it records them, and then if you give them permission, it just sends it off to that the company behind the game. So that's one good thing about Mac is it knows when how
many times have things like that snuck into our terms of service and we had no idea?
Ooh, dude, I can name a few games. The old games that fell underneath the free-to-play moniker, you'd find a shit ton of them with exactly that in them. So it can be bad, bro. It can be bad.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that either, Guilty. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. However, with all this talk about games, I would be remiss if I didn't play a certain little partial trailer from Skunks himself.
That sounds and looks fun.
It does.
It's his
Skunks,
game.
I don't know if you're. Oh, you are still here. He says, "Oh, we've made another enemy you'd love, Ethan." Really?
All right.
I got to see this enemy. I can't wait for this to come out. I'm not going to rush you because take your time, get it the way you want it.
Let me know if you need any beta testers. I like to beta test your game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It looks nice and aggravating. You see him trying to run underneath the pistons there, getting smacked. It's like, oh, I can see getting so far, and then one little misstep. It's like, I got to go all the way back to the save.
What kind of
you have saves in there, right, Skunks?
What kind of genre of game is that?
I'm pretty sure he said it was a Metroidvania.
Okay. So it's going to be right up your alley then.
Yeah, oh, definitely. He says it's a funny game mostly. Yeah, it looks like it's meant to be comical, tongue-in-cheek type. But I am looking forward to playing that one when it becomes available. Again, Skunks, don't want to rush you because a rushed game, yeah, it is no good. But hurry up.
No rush, but hurry up.
Exactly.
Do it now.
I think it was Yoshio Sakamoto who once said, I'm sorry if I'm attributing it to the wrong guy, who once said, a rushed game, a delayed game can eventually be good, but a rushed game is bad forever.
Well,
I think that was
Miyamoto.
I think it was Miyamoto who said it.
Well, they're right. That's for sure. I mean,
they got the patches and stuff nowadays, but people are sick of having partial games released, and then you got to wait for the rest to be patched in bit by bit.
I think there's only one part of that quote that I disagree with, and that's if the game is just not coming together, the amount of time being spent on it is not going to help it. It has to come together at some point. Yeah. That's the only part about that quote I actually disagree with.
Yeah, I mean, if they're given infinite time, they'll sit there and pick apart and never stop finding things to touch on.
There's a layer of chaos to it, you know?
Yeah. It's like that with writing stories as well. At some point, you got to call it good and move on.
Right. It's it's not exactly going to impact the quality. Well, there is going to be a certain impact on quality depending on the amount of time you spend on it, but there are like books and games that have been worked on for years finally come out and they are good. It's just they're often the exception and not the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looks like it's going to be pretty sharp. I know they scrapped that one entirely and restarted from scratch because they weren't happy with the direction of it.
That's
Yeah, they're finally releasing gameplay footage and stuff. Or is it
that
just
is
the
kind
trailer?
of the Nintendo way right there. I know they've done that a number of times with projects where like, okay, this is, this doesn't look good. Start all over again.
Yeah, well, they also kind of broke their usual pattern with that. They announced it before they started work on it, and they usually don't do that. And I think they got a reminder of why they don't usually do that. They like
Have
to wait
you-
until the game's made and before they announce it.
Have you guys ever heard some of the story about what went on behind the original Metroid Prime? Like how many bumps they hit in that road?
Oh yeah, and
It's like the
That
head
was
the head of their local
Insane.
studio was using their servers as like a porn server at one
Whoa.
point. It was like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Like-
they got sponsored by Nintendo, so to speak. Like Nintendo funded them, even though they were their own studio. And after they came in and found out everything that was going on, they pretty much bought them out, kicked them out, took over. And
That's an appropriate move for that.
It was
kind
one of those cases where I think it was like Miyamoto himself ended up like flying over to Retro Studios. They realized everything that was going on,
Yeah.
how terrible the development process was going. They went, all right,
That's
we're
crazy.
cleaning house, start this again and actually do it right.
and Metroid Prime itself was what became Metroid Prime. They were actually doing a different kind of game, and somebody said this might make a good Metroid. Somebody from Nintendo said this could make a good version of Metroid. So that's that whole Prime mechanic style originally started as nothing to do with Metroid, and for not being part of Nintendo originally, they really respected the lore of the series. I mean, they did a lot more for lore in those three games than most of the other games did altogether.
It was one of those games that was kind of a happy accident at the end of the day. It was just
But they
one of
also
those-
had terrific crunch time with it too.
Yeah, and that's kind of the sad part in a lot of ways, because some of the best games you and I can think of were made under terrible conditions.
Super Metroid among them.
Yeah, Thief 2 was another one. That game was highly rushed. Highly rushed. It's a wonder that game turned out as well as it did.
Yeah, the folks working on Super Metroid were actually getting ragged on by the other departments because they were in crunch time. They were there working like 18, 20 hours a day, napping in the rec room couch, and then going right back into it. And they were just going at it for like close to a month. They were just doing their hard push. And
I think it was
the other departments were ragging on them because they're all dirty and smelly because they're not even going home. They're just really, and they got a work ethic that would just most of us here would never understand. I think when they go, all right, time to finish, and they're not stopping until they finish, they mean it.
I think it was like with Thief 2, that with that game being as rushed as it was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Looking Glass ran out of budget near the end, and they couldn't even pay their employees. They were just like,
wow,
hey, we've got a game to finish. There's pizza in the break room. Let's just finish the game. So you had a lot of their workers just sleeping at their desks and stuff. It was insane crunch time.
Yeah, I think Nintendo tried to put a squash on the crunch time. I think
Yeah,
they finally said we'd rather just delay the game than rush at the deadline and have these horrible conditions.
Like crunch time can work, but
to a point.
It's a short-term solution, not long-term.
Yeah, there's so much you can squeeze out of your developers.
Right. If it's like your legitimate process, you're much more likely, in my opinion, to make some shitty games.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're most likely to like get rid of some talent along the way as well.
Yeah, anyone who has a family life, it's hard to keep that up when you're doing the crunch thing.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up with anything when you're on crunch. Your life's got to go on pause.
I mean, when you're out of gaming school and single in your early 20s, it's not, it's almost like a fun period, you know.
Gaming school.
You're going to be learning a lot, and you're going through it for the first time, your first cycle of pushing something else. There's something to be said about that, but yeah, eventually it wears on you. I luckily didn't have to do any crunch time.
All right. Didn't you just like, what'd you work on again?
I worked on Age of Empires 3. And,
yeah.
I was just there in the early days as well. Like, so we were a subsidiary of.
Oh, you actually worked on video games?
Yeah, but it's a real short period of my life. Like,
I had no idea. I'd never heard you mention it before.
No, because it's only been a year of my life. It's just I wasn't even hired to work on video games. I was hired to work on their website. And it just so happens they got a contract that same weekend from Relic Games, who had Age of Empires, which the trademark came from Microsoft. So they were working with Microsoft. And we were just hired to do extra work on it. And they had this weird fucking language they were using, this sort of weird offshoot of XML, which is close to HTML, which fit my my skills. Even though I didn't know anything of it, I could learn it and use it. And the implementation we had didn't even have all the functions in it. So it was kind of rudimentary. But yeah, we got it done. I worked mostly on, interface stuff. So menu stuff, put together some HUD elements. I worked on the map stuff, putting the icons on the maps and fixing the bugs when they would turn, when they didn't need to turn, and all that stuff. It was fun. It was really fun for a while.
Huh.
So,
is my big attempt beat my head against the keyboard with Blender and Unity, and then give up and write it instead.
Dude, I can't do Blender either.
Is there any art that you made that got into the game?
I don't know because I never played the game, but I did start to do some art stuff before I eventually got fired. But I got fired because I stopped going into work. It was kind of a weird.
Weird how that happens.
Yeah, it's just it.
Odd coincidence.
It's like the whole feedback loop got kind of clogged, and problems were not getting handled. And when I started doing artwork, I was no longer answering to my boss, who was the project lead in the cubicle in front of me. I now had to answer to an art director I had never met on the other floor that didn't answer emails or whatever. So it kind of sort of got in that there were like managerial fucking issues or whatever you want to call it. And eventually things just got clogged and never got answered. And I'd end up going to work and just sitting on my ass and getting nothing done. And when you complain, you're like, hey man, like, I'm just doing nothing. But they're like, it doesn't matter. We're getting paid with you on wait. I'm like, yeah, but I could do this from home, you know? Like I could wait on my ass from home. But I eventually got tired of that and went back to doing websites and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool. I mean, it was like, not going to lie, like Age of Empires, it's the kind of game I really enjoyed playing. And they had like really state-of-the-art graphics. And we had early snapshots of the game, and then we saw it progress over months. It was kind of wild. It's a fun thing to see big projects like that but there was we had a lot of issues. Like at the place we were working, there was a lot of blackouts. Electricity would go out.
Oh, fun.
What the
And I'd be like, hey, can we get like battery backup so at least we can like save our work once the light goes out, and we can maybe get half an hour to finish whatever we're working on. And
Screw you, pal.
they never, yeah, I don't know. This is a weird
Wow.
feedback loop.
Yeah.
Guilty Gearhead says the Mega Man X games came out one every year. The first 4 are good ones. The other 4 not as much. I've only played through 1X, 4X, and 5X so far. Playthrough means you beat the game, or
Yeah, that's usually what playthrough means.
Are you fighting an oven, a stove oven, a fireplace?
It's like a robot. It's supposed to be a robot, anyways. I don't know how well they did on the whole robot design, but there it is.
Okay.
But all I gotta do, because it's the boss of this level, if I just kill the robot, mission complete.
Nice.
yeah, he does
Oh,
look like a
very
little
nice.
wood stove.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go pretty far in this one. This is the one I played the most, so I got more comfortable with this one compared to all of them out there. But there are definitely some unique and interesting games for sale right now on Steam. Might be worth checking out. Or check out if they go on sale on GOG, because I know Steam's kind of like more so licensing the games out, shit like that. At least I think that's what their policy is. I don't know.
I'm guessing you don't want to blow up the fire can.
No, because then it would hit me too. So I'm avoiding that. Though I might have to. Screw it. I'm just gonna get there.
You
Because-
can do it.
See, with this attack, I should just focus on him solely, and I can continuously use it. See.
Just do it!
You heard the man.
All right, that blew up. Okay, this should kill him because he's got burn, which means as soon as I'm done, he receives damage. Yeah, there we go.
Boom!
Finish
Oh,
him.
nice.
Yeah, like that's what I like is like, it's very combo heavy on the cards. You can do a lot with them, and if you get the right build going, you can create very unique and interesting builds. So if you're into card games, you're gonna enjoy that.
And
Nice.
meanwhile, Otter's running around. Is that the Raptor Otter that you were running on the other night? No.
I'm not on my raptor at the moment, but he is a good raptor. He's a very good boy. I'm just really beating up some pirates at the moment. Pretty successfully so far, I have to say.
Pirates and Raptors. That sounds like a little bit of everything.
Quite the combo, actually.
Definitely sounds like it.
Now, if the Raptors and the Pirates become overwhelming, I could send you some backup.
It's the same old theme since 1916. Eeyore-head, they're still fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. Eeyore-head, they are dying.
They're eating the cats.
They
Not
are.
those cats.
Well, technically, I am a cat, so it does fit.
Yes, playthrough means finish the games.
What did they
Guilty
drop?
ass, is your name in the credits of Age of Empires 1?
No, not at all. I just it was 3 that we were working on,
Oh,
and
Trace.
I don't think my name made it into the credits because I wasn't there on release date.
You have to be there for like at least a third of the project or something. Like if you come in and touch stuff up, you just a couple days on there.
I mean,
I
it
don't-
might be, but I never went and checked. So
And guilty ass Otter, are you playing Guild Wars 2?
Yes, this is
Great
Guild
game.
Wars 2.
Great
A
game.
very fun casual game, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
enjoy-
exactly great on the story front, but just kind of messing around. I hear the I actually hear the expansions get a lot more involved with the story, but the base game is perfectly fine in its own right.
Now, can we drop in James's game character in there with you?
My
and
game
the
character.
pirates come at you, and he throws a bunch of cards down, and then martial arts them.
Well, of course. I'm not going to deny. I won't deny the help.
How does that play compared to the first Guild Wars?
I haven't played the first one, actually, though I've heard a lot of great things about the first Guild Wars.
I've never checked out the first one either.
The NPCs for party dynamic stuff were great. Like the healer that would always charge and get aggro.
What's actually fascinating about the first Guild Wars it's still ongoing just because apparently ArenaNet is saying that it takes so few resources to actually maintain Guild Wars 1. They're just going to have it running pretty much forever.
Wow, not bad. That's always good to hear.
You know, a lot of people think it was Josh Strife Hayes who called it. It's basically a single player game in the best way possible.
I'm wondering if part of it may also be due to the lower player count these days.
That too, probably.
I'm sure that has a ton to do with it. I personally don't know anybody who's played the game that I game with.
I actually had 3 copies. Yeah, 3 copies of the game. Part of that was so I could do inventory, but then also get different things on different accounts.
Ah, that's a lot of copies of the game.
Yeah, so I think so. The first one I paid. Well, I didn't even pay full price because I believe I was working at CompUSA at the time, so I got whatever our store price was, the employee discount, and then maybe possibly the same on the second. I could be wrong though. I think I bought a second account from some third party where it was much cheaper. Like I may have only paid like $5 or something instead of the full price, but all I got was the key code or whatever to unlock an account rather than the whole box and CD and everything else.
Yeah, physical copies becoming more fewer and far between.
I never did like buying a physical box just to get a damn key code or something cheap about it. You know, something that just takes away from the experience of just opening up a game for the first time, seeing that brand new disc right there. It's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, for Guild Wars, you had to have you had to buy it at least once, so you actually had the CD.
Yeah.
Or at least initially. I think later you could just download a copy of it, but I think initially you had to have at least a CD to install, and then you got updates applied later.
Now, I'll admit, I do buy a lot of my games digitally, and if I like it, then I go and look to see if I can get the physical copy. Like, with the exception of Hollow Knight, all I have is the physical copy. But Dread, I downloaded that, and then when I had the chance, I got the physical copy ordered. Same thing with Prime Remastered, although I don't know why I did that. I already knew I was going to like it as a remaster. Then Yars Rising, I just recently got this. This came in. I've had the game digitally downloaded for a while, but this just came in. I think I'm going to go looking to see if there's physical copies of Axiom Verge 1 and 2 next. I finished Axiom Verge 1. I'm currently lost in Axiom Verge 2. But I think I'm going to have to cheese it, go look up a playthrough, and find out where I'm going wrong, because I'm just... Yeah, I don't have the Nintendo Power magazine to help me out when I get real lost. But I think the idea of some of the games being like that is supposed to be, you know, your friends are playing the game too. You can talk to each other, say, hey, I discovered this. Well, I discovered that. And between a group of people playing the game, can fill each other in on what they learned and where they found stuff, so they can actually complete the game. I think it was
going with the power of
intended to be a
jolly
group activity.
cooperation.
Yeah, I think it was somewhat intended to be a group activity, even though they're solo games.
Remember the Nintendo hotline? You could like call 1-900 number and get like assistance on
Yes,
video games.
and I was a teenage. I was pre-teens. My parents were pissed at me for running up the phone bill on that thing.
Apparently, they were actually very helpful for getting players through the games.
So what was it like, Wrangler? Like what game did you call for? Do you remember?
Oh, I used to just. I don't know if it was Nintendo specifically from Nintendo, or if it was a. It was a recording where they go through and once a week they would just list a bunch of tips. So it might not have been an official Nintendo one, but like every now and then the Konami code, they would just select that again because that was just useful in a bunch of different games. What was it?
You know what would be hilarious?
BA select start.
Be hilarious. Somebody actually did that all over again. Started their own hotline for old school games and new school ones.
I do know there was a hotline where you could call up and talk to an actual person who knew the tips and tricks.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, people just hit it up just because, like, this for reals.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you had talked
But
to.
nowadays, you'd probably get some AI generated voice just talking back to you based on prompts.
The AI probably wouldn't be that bad at helping either, though. Like, scour the forums. But it would be cool. It's like a guy's like, "Hey, I'm stuck on this boss in Elden Ring. All right, 1 second, Jeff, we got an Elden Ring question. All right, what boss? Jeff's on his way. He knows what's up. He knows what he's doing.
When it comes to Elden Ring, we call him El Jefe for a reason.
Those must have been great jobs, man. Working on the phone lines to solve video game problems, playing those games all day long. Just man, that must have been.
Be like, hey, playing the game is the fun part of the job. Talking to people on the phone is the work part.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids like, I want to win Mario. Okay, where are you at, kid?
If we start the helplines again today, somebody call up. Hey, I'm stuck on this boss. What do I do? Get good.
You gotta grind, kid. Grind till your fingers bleed.
Grind till your
I remember Zelda.
Gotta
2.
get good, son.
A friend of mine wanted to play it, but he didn't want to go through all the build-up. He just wanted to be all powerful when he went in. I said, I'll take care of it. I went through and got in Zelda 2, I would have an encounter, and I would just keep doing it again and again. Just critters I knew I could beat. It's like you got 2 XP for each one defeated, and I spent hours just grinding up and going around. I got all the power-ups, but didn't defeat any of the bosses. Then one day I said, here you go, play it. And he brought it home, stuck it in, loaded up the saved game, where pretty much nothing was done, but everything was gotten. So he had all the gear, all the best stuff, and just had to go through and find the dungeons and beat up the bad guys.
Yeah. There you go. You created.
Congratulations! I was your personal cheat code.
I will also say this. This is probably one of my favorite parts of this game. The jumping puzzles. Like these vistas or whatever they're called. Each of them is like their own mini jumping puzzle, and once you finally get to the top, you get a bit of experience, and you also get a nice view over the place
where's
you just
Christian?
scaled.
He's
And
the
unlocked.
jump king.
Yeah.
Cahoon is the jump king. Let's have him try it.
One jump man.
He also sacrifices orcs to dragons.
So are there any missions in this where you pick up some NPCs as part of a team or a group thing?
Well, it's an MMO.
Yeah, so there's like instance quests. There's also like actual dungeons and stuff. But you kind of have to get a group together for that specifically. But the actual quests themselves, yeah, a lot of them, they have companions where it's like a lot of it's centered around war and everything. Like, I think you have different paths you can take to actually go about it. There's kind of like your, to my knowledge, it kind of splits it like warrior, mage, thief a little bit. Like, there are several archetypes, but which path in the main quest later on you take, you get like a choice between three
So at
major
some point,
paths.
you got to specialize.
Yeah,
I
at some
can-
point you got to specialize, and it's a quest tailored to you.
I can actually see Guilty Giller here. It says that was a real job. We have to make that a thing again. I can see
Yeah,
that
the-
being a thing again. I honestly can.
I can too.
People would love to just talk to an actual human being about a damn video game. And there will be people say like, hey, it's a $5 call for 10-minute conversation about
I bet
your
it would
game.
be more popular than those BetterHelp programs
Oh,
they're pushing on podcasts.
Dude, oh, what would you call it? You'd have to
Better gaming.
better game. It has to be. It's got to be a parody of Better Help.
Better
Or we
gaming.
could do it as a live stream. Somebody hop on,
Better tip.
just play a game
Oh,
while
yeah.
taking
Just the
questions
tips.
from the chat.
It's like
Just
it
the
would be
tip.
a live stream, but you put the link in the description so people could like call in. You bring them on, and then okay, what's your question? And they could share screen. Yeah, I'm at this level here with this game. So what do I do? Oh, kid, you are fucked.
In general, you got like an 8% chance of winning. I could boost that up to a 15% chance of winning.
Says yes, thank you, Pug James.
I mean, that'd be epic. And you know what? They could all be giant pugs like me, so that way it's even more hilarious.
Pug James is best James. Change my mind.
Pug advice.
Sandwich.
You're in a spacesuit too, for when it's time.
And then when they doubt you, you're like, look at me. Would I lie to you?
Right? Look into these eyes. This is the face of a liar to you,
I played this game 72 times.
right?
Well, it's about that time we should start getting into the parting plugs, unless there's anything else somebody wants to discuss before we wrap it up.
I'm a little tired.
Tired Pug.
Tired pug, yes. You know, hop back in the mothership and take a break.
All right. In that case, let's do them parting plugs.
And before we
James.
start, if we're gonna start
Yeah.
with me, awesome. I'll start after I say that Guild Wars 2 has probably some of the best underwater combat in an MMO. In fact, better than most games in general. It's got
It
good
is pretty
underwater
great.
combat. Yeah. You in fact got an entirely different underwater weapon. You got a specific weapon meant for underwater combat your character's equipped with. It's actually really nice.
Interesting.
And if you're an MMO fan, you know the idea of underwater combat in general is rare. It's usually just you doing the exact same moves on land, but no, you get an entire different underwater skill set. But with that said, you can find me at worldwithoutendlore.substack.com. It's been a little scarce over the holiday season. Going to pick it up when the new year begins. I have a few lovely little stories on there that are worth checking out. Please give it a look, people. worldwithoutend.lore.substack.com. Thank you.
Awesome.
The undead are planning to attack, and it's up to Gwendolyn the gnome to deliver word to the humans before they're taken by surprise. Glimmerleaf, link in the description.
Yay.
All right, Raven.
I actually had my brother-in-law and my niece are going to read the book that I've been working on. It's not completed yet, but I feel like I'm missing something, and they were willing volunteers, so hopefully I'll get some good feedback.
Nice.
But otherwise, read Brian McCoppin's Record of the Paladins.
DAOC.
Oh, DAOC. Dang it, I used to remember which one that was.
What's DAOC? I played a lot of MMOs, so it's like I am invested in general.
Oh gosh, it. For some reason, I'm thinking Dragon Age of something or other, but that's not right.
If it's an MMO,
Disciple. Dang it, I can't remember. It's been too long.
It's a dating game.
Stumps
Dating
is probably
AOC.
laughing hysterically. At it.
Oh
Ignorant.
God.
No, it's not.
Dark Age of Combat.
Of
Okay.
Camelot.
Camelot.
Dark Age of
Camelot.
Camelot.
That's
Oh.
right.
Yeah, that was hardcore, man. That was hardcore. I think Otter's showing off the underwater combat.
It's pretty fun, I gotta admit.
Yeah, and
You got
Otter,
to
you're
try it.
up.
Well, if you're following me and the downstream tides, as otters are wont to do, you can find my book, Steel and Stormbright, The Curse of the Star Raids, on Amazon, all the retailers. I am closing everything up for book 2, mostly just a bit of polish and tweaking a bit here and there based on beta reader feedback. Things are actually speeding up now. The big thing I have going on also is I've been working on Evele to get a song situated for the reveal trailer, and I'm actually writing up the lyrics for them as well, which is going to be very interesting.
All right.
Steel and Stormbright, The Curse of the Star Wraiths. An exciting sword and sorcery adventure about two brothers trying to make their way in a harsh world. Link in the description.
That's going to be an interesting book launch, Otter. Like, people's second launches get better. Like, people learn, they improve.
Yeah, biggest thing I'm actually just trying to make sure of now is that characters are being done just right. So this second book is actually going to be leaning a bit more into dark fantasy, and I'm just making sure I've got that as good as I can make it.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Frederick.
Yeah, so imakecomics.com is an address that'll forward you to Rattel Comic, where I just did an update actually yesterday. So if you want to check an update of my website, rattelcomic.com, you'll see new art samples that have been just received from my colorist. The Bitcoin Signal, the character Rattel in full living color, what he's going to look like with our new colorist. New like from a month ago, but still.
Yeah.
Comics move slowly, guys. You got to be patient. But you can also find me on YouTube on Proof of Comics on Tuesdays, because Tuesday is the best day to stream, apparently, in the indie comic space. Check us out at 8 Eastern, not 8:30, 8 Eastern. I've been doing Comicsgate Commandos a little bit too much. And Comicsgate Commandos on Wednesdays as well. So 3 days of streaming in a row. It's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
And so
I guess that leaves me. You can find my stuff on Amazon, Haley Star Bad Kitty and Bad Kitty Haley's World. Haley and Elizabeth are a blast. You're going to love them. Also, a little update to that. On my Substack, Frequency Studios, there is now New World Detectives, The Legend of Shalar. It is up. It takes place 6 months after Bad Kitty Haley's World. Set in the same continuity. You can also find me on the X Twitter, Truth, Minds, and Blue Sky under Frequency Studios.
Nice.
Where I just post stuff that, in a nutshell, says, buy my books. Thanks for the catchphrase there, Herman. Anyway, I think that's about it. It's going to be 2025 when we next come on the show. But we will be on the shows tomorrow night. James, you're running the show tomorrow night?
I'm running the show. Yeah.
And Frederick, you're running yours?
Yeah, we're doing a year in review and a little bit of forward thinking to what 2025 is going to bring as well.
Yay.
I am stoked for 2025. I have a real good feeling about 2025.
And at 9:30 Eastern, Iron Seas kicks off with Ultimate Kahuna, Evele Music, AC Pritchard, and is it bat sauce or butt sauce? It depends.
Yes.
It's after 10 it's butt sauce.
It's
Yeah.
butt sauce. Yeah. But that's also tomorrow night. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. It was a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like, and if you didn't, appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time, and God bless.
Bye-bye, dear world. Go buy some
See
cheap
you
video
guys.
games.
Happy New Year's.
Have a good life.
Play video games,
See you next
draw
year.
comics, and write books and stuff.
Consume. Create product.
Create.
Guilty's like, gross.
Admire. Achieve.
Just do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Own your skills.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. I'm doing it.
Jewish space laser.
Do it.
I would.
Good night, everybody.
Do it.
Good night. Bonsoir.